Welcome back. I'm MTG Joe. Today we're going to be wrapping up our budget build series for Selesnya, that is green-white color pair. So we are going with the no budget version of the deck. If you've missed it on the channel, we already have the super budget, only in commons and commons free cards, and then the mid budget, which is, I think it was 12 rares and mythics combined. So kind of like an in-between build stage. So the whole point of the series is to walk you through how you can go from a starting point with pretty much just whatever cards you have or a couple of cheap wild cards and then build over time. I'm going to look to get this right up on the Arena subreddit the weekend of June 1st. So you can check out everything there, my thoughts and everything. But if you miss it there, you can always drop a comment below. So going into the deck itself, so we're building around the 1/1 counter theme, and then looking to use Proliferate to add more counters onto our stuff, as well as it works well with our Planeswalkers. So from the past version of the deck, I'm just going to highlight kind of what we've added in, and then you can see from there. When I have the write-up, it'll show everything from each level of the deck. So basically what we added in this version is the Knight of Autumns. So this is a pretty good utility card. It can either gain us life when we need it, destroy an artifact or enchantment in a pinch, or just come in as a 4/3 with 2 counters on it that we can proliferate. And then I've also added Venerated Loxodon into the main board. Just 2 copies, just as a top-end curve. We're not playing like the weenies strategy where you have a lot of like cheap 1-drops that you can just power this out on turn 3 and pump up the team. Our curve's a little bit higher. In the event that you haven't checked out the other videos and you're wondering why a non-budget version is playing a Guildgate and not all the Sunpetal Groves, I don't have all the Sunpetal Groves. I don't want to use rare cards on it. It's worked thus far. Green-white is my least favorite color palette. I'm just trying to do it for all the colors in the series to give them equal share. So we've been kind of screwed, I think, in 1 game thus far, and 2 1-hour streams with the deck, playing multiple times. So we'll just go with it for now. But obviously, if you have the Sunpetal Groves, play the Sunpetal Groves. And then really what we've added, a lot of the changes that come in the sideboard. So versus control, we've added Gideon Blackblade. This is a good Planeswalker that can pressure the opponent, and it gets around board wipes, which is useful. I've also added in a Vivien Champion of the Wilds, so just so we can play on our opponent's turn, flash in our creatures, kind of give them pseudo haste. A couple Nisas for more of the mid-range matchups, and then Vivien to deal with so Vivien's basically an upgraded Crushing Canopies. It deals with artifacts, deals with enchantments, deals with flyers, but also has the advantage of giving us card draw, or card draw through either getting creatures or lands, and then the emblem is something that can be useful against control. So it's just more in there for the longer, grindier matchups. So that's why we've included it in there. So we'll run with this list first. The questions come up a couple times why we're playing Conclave Tribunal as opposed to Prison Realm. Conclave Tribunal exiles any target that's non-land. Prison Realm doesn't get enchantments or stuff like that. As well as with the Convoke, we're able to get it out a couple turns earlier. And especially with Ajani, you get Vigilance, so you can attack and then tap your creatures to play a Conclave Tribunal. So we'll run it through. Generally what I do is I'll play a couple games in best of 3 and then a couple in best of 1, just so you can see how the deck fares in both formats. So we'll give it a shot. For those joining live, welcome, welcome. If you haven't caught the stream before, or the replays, we usually put up about 3 to 7 videos a week on the YouTube channel, playing everything from tier 1 lists down to budget lists and everything in between. If you're enjoying the content, subscribing is a free and easy way to show the support. The little button in the right hand corner. It goes a long way to helping me build out the channel. So with this hand here, so we don't really have a way to proliferate. We have a lot of proliferate threats, but not really a real threat in terms of... Let's keep this. We need a land, and then this hand gets a lot better. Let's hope for the land. So that other hand, we could play out, but we weren't able to adapt necessarily. Okay. So at the very least, we have 3 more turns of or 2 more turns of playing stuff. Plus the Branchwalker can help us dig for land. Okay. So we're playing against Is It Phoenix here. So I'm gonna go with the Branchwatcher first. That gets us a land. So we'll play this out. And attack for 2. Usually against Phoenix, I like pressuring their life total. They can have kind of explosive turns, so when you can get in the chip damage is pretty good. So in this matchup too, like out of the sideboard, we'll bring in some of the exile effects, and then the Viviens are pretty good as well, just to shoot down our opponent's stuff. Next turn, we have a couple options. I'm probably just going to go big in terms of Knight of Autumn. Or we can start getting the proliferation train going. So if they're going to burn 2 shocks, that's pretty good value for us. Okay, so we got a second Sage. I'm just going to go... It's attacking first. They're not going to trade here. And if they do, we're very happy with that occurrence. So let's put counters on it. So I usually like playing Growth Chamber when we have the ability to adapt it that same turn. They're going to play Lava Coil in their deck. So we don't want it to die before we can get value. And playing out the Sage with the land, we have nothing to proliferate. This puts the most pressure on the opponent. So they bind at least an Augur. Tormenting Voice. Okay, so that's pretty good there. So we'll proliferate up here. So for this turn, I'm comfortable doing it. The reason being is if they choose to Lava Coil this or Shock it, like Shock's a little worse, but if they use Lava Coil, then they're not using it on Knight of Autumn. And we're pretty much at the point, see, so they use the there. We're at the point we want to start pressuring our opponent. And they Beacon Bolt. They hit a Phoenix. It's quite aggressive of you. So here... I'm gonna attack with both. So... I think we just adapt. Gets in the most damage. So they're gonna have the Beacon Bolt anyways for at least one of our targets. They'll have to discard, but... Next turn... Can see how we want to play this out. We can't quite Field of Ruin and adapt with the adapt.
We'll create great things, you and I.
So that's pretty good for them, having the Saheeli active. Okay. So this is a cool interaction. We can put a counter on it again and grab a Growth Chamber Guardian. I'm just gonna go face. So they probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. They got enough. Beacon Bolt just reads kill whatever we play. Need an Ajani or something to get going. Oh, that's disgusting. And it gets him the Phoenix back. So I think we lost this one at this point. Saheeli pretty much meant. And then they have the Beacon Bolt for the last one. Yeah, we're too far behind. Phoenix comes out. Started off well, but kind of fell behind there. That's okay because we got Kraul Harpooners. We got Viviens. Bindings, Prison Realms. What do we want out in this matchup? Probably get rid of the Sage in this matchup. The reason being the 2 toughness. Like to pay a 3 mana spell that gets hit. They'll usually probably bring in Fiery Cannonade as well. Shalai's you can get rid of. They block Phoenix, but they also have other things. I want to try to like aggro them. Loxodon, we could kind of cut the curve down there. It's a way to block up Conclave Tribunals. Knight of Autumns are okay in this matchup, but I think we want to just go like that. Maybe cut another knight for... But her down tick isn't as good. Let's run it like that. We'll see. Because after post board we bring in a higher density of non-creature spells, Vivien's down tick for the little Vivien isn't as good. Keep curve of Branchwalker into Jadelight, potentially putting counters on both that get amplified with Huatli Raptor. Also, depending on the curve, we can go basically 2, 3, 4, 5. Put counters on everything. And we got that turn 1 Guildgate. It's basically a Temple Garden. Alright, opponent. You're going to be playing a land and you're going to either not do anything, you're going to opt, or you're going to try to shock my Branchwalker with the Explorer trigger on the stack. What you got? What you got? I'm actually going to keep that on top. It slows us down by a turn, but getting this going with Jadelight is just a huge amount of life. Like, we have to be mindful they'll probably be playing Entrancing Melodies. You know what? In retrospect, that was probably wrong. Don't want a second one. So we're doing this now. The reason being, this is kind of like Runaway Steamkin in the deck. If you don't get rid of it, they get a ton of value off it. Yeah, and they're just going to concede. So we're going to run it back. Oh, opponent concedes. So you usually want to get it off, because all their 2 mana draw spells become 1 mana cyclers, and it just helps them dig so much to finding like all their top end stuff. So bet Phoenix. For game one we lost, but we were almost there. They kind of stabilized with Saheeli. The fact that we don't have trample in the deck, like we get really big stuff, but we don't have trample, is a little problematic. Don't think there's really an option. Like none of the planeswalkers. Not the best, not the worst. Growth Chamber into Jadelight. Jadelight's a pretty powerful beatdown plan. I'll probably end up adapting onto then playing the Jadelight. So Growth Chamber is basically going to read save 3 damage potentially. If we're able to adapt it, it's a little tricky here because we want to be mindful. Okay, so they have a steam can, so we do get a free turn to adapt. That's good afterwards to gain us some life back. So at the very worst, they have to trade a 3 damage burn spell and the Firebrand in order to get us. This is one of those matchups where if we had the Wildgrowth Walker, we'd be laughing. Okay. This also suggests to me that they won't be blocking. They're creature heavy, which is probably better for how our hand's setting up. You know what? I misplayed that. Should have played out the Temple Garden. This will give us the most blockers, which probably is right. And because we have 2 in hand, I'm less inclined to actually adapt. No attacks here. Also that we have the 2 new Ajani's main board to just keep gaining 3 life a turn. Here... I'm gonna force him to burn a spell here. Like it's less that hits us afterwards. And this is the problem where we didn't... Do they have double Chain Whirler? If they have double Chain Whirler, that's gross. That wipes our board. Alright, we're back in it. Was about to hit concede, but... we are gonna keep that... How many cards do they have in hand? 2? Yeah, we're gonna keep that on top.
It's my turn. Let's light it up.
Chandra is also pretty bad. Interesting. We're just gonna keep exploring. Do we want to attack in? Probably not. This holds back the chain whirlers.
This is just gonna be bad for you.
Like even the -7 doesn't really do anything. We're at 28. Here, what do we want to do? So the options are gain 4 more life, takes us to 35, make it a 4-3. Probably just gain the life. So I should probably hold lands now, just in case we get proliferating going with like Evolution Sage.
There's no problem fire can't solve.
Them also hitting nothing but lands has been pretty good for us. So here, let's see how they block. They could technically kill our Wildgrowth Walker, but we get to get rid of most of their field. I just want to start picking off some of the small blockers so we can get through.
That smell. Oh, it's you burning.
Chandra's so angsty. Okay. Shalai is fantastic. So I'm going to do this again. They can triple block and use a burn spell. Actually, they can't. So we just keep picking them off. Now we could just keep sinking mana with Shalai and just make our army huge.
Sit back and watch it burn.
They have Lightning Strike. Okay, they're going to have to use multiple burn spells, which means they're not hitting us in the face. Are you even good at magic? So we want to try to get this engine off the field. So here, stack it like that. So it's kind of like a board wipe. If Chandra takes a point of damage, it has to kill itself with Shalai, so it's actually a pretty funny interaction. Yeah, opponent concedes. So came back from the brink of death. Shalai into Shalai was awesome. In this matchup, I want the Prison Realms. And I think that might just be it. Cut down the Venerated Loxodons. Actually, I might want the Loxodons more than I want the Evolution Sage. There's probably also merit to bringing that in, just playing more of like a control deck. In terms of what we're cutting, so like 3 mana again to be shocked. It doesn't trade as well, and it comes down a little late. This matchup we need to be lean. Like at least the Growth Chamber comes down on 2. Alright, so opponents on the play. Ajani Growth Chamber can help us find some more. Probably take the early shots. They got pretty unlucky last game with the Chandra. I think it was like 3 or 4 flips in a row. They hit nothing but lands. Viashino. So we're good if they have like a Chandra or Experimental Frenzy, so we'll save that. Do we just trade here? No, I think we just take the damage. It turns on Light Up the Stage and Skewer, but they're not missing lands. And if they're just going to spin the turn, like... yeah, it's fine. Here... we can... gain the life. You know what? This makes it so they can't easily turn on Light Up the Stage. Sets us up. Yeah, I actually don't mind another Conclave Tribunal. I want to ideally get value out of this. They get haste with it. So that plan was for naught. Gets him a lightning strike. So this is effectively a fog for the turn, plus, so it'll fog 7 damage. They're going to lightning strike this down, attack for 4. I think we might just be a little too slow on the play this turn. Okay, so Shalai, my girl, protect me. At the very least, this eats a burn spell and kills a creature. Best case, it gives me something to start putting counters on with Ajani. Okay, so they have the Frenzy. We're gonna exile that and just play defense. This is the way we need to control the board. This is rough. Yeah, I think we're dead regardless. If we had a land, we could have double spelled. Me don't thinks we're coming back. No, we are not. Red on the draw is tough. They brought in the War Boss. Don't quite have a clean answer for that. We'll run it back one more time. Bringing the exile effects are the correct play, but just the fact we're paying 4 mana for Conclave. Oi, 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 oi. Gotta mulligan that. Keep. The reason we keep Branchwalker there is it can help us dig for a land, and at worst case, it can be proliferated upon. See if they burn here. Them blowing a lava coil there is pretty good. So even if we bend that, we would have drawn that for the turn. Okay. Because our life total is pretty high right now, I'm actually going to do this. This forces them to... That's perfect. Just do that. No attacks. After the opponent seeing that we brought in so much exile, seems a little odd. Okay, so they lose the war boss, which is good for us. It's basically Reeds take 5 damage, or we kill the lava runner. This having vigilance allows us to poke at them.
Oh, it's you burning.
Taking down mono red. Awesome, awesome. Taking out Phoenix and mono red, so 2 tier 1 lists. Let's fire up a couple best of ones. See how we go there. Come on, load up. It's pretty solid. Took the early hits from mono red. Quite pleased with this. As a player who secretly always wants to play blue, playing green-white creatures just is not necessarily my archetype of choice. There's no counterspells in green-white. Alrighty, what do we got? We got a pile of cards. Pile of cards. Try it out. Okay, would like a land, please. Give me one land. One land, one time. Not a land. I thought we had a deal magic. Just want one. Well, we're getting no value out of these Raptors other than them being 2/3s. Opponent might be on Teamer Reclamation. I haven't seen that deck at all since War of the Spark. Okay. So against, if this is like a control deck, I'm not as afraid to overextend. Because they generally don't have like anything that deals more than 2 damage. We're gonna graveyard that. That's great because next turn we can Evolution Sage in that. They usually just play like Fiery Cannonade. I might go Shalai next turn actually. Just protect our stuff. Yeah, Shalai's probably the right call. Because now that... Okay, so they probably got Reclamation. Yeah, that's fine. You take 5 anyways. So we're going to attack first, and then I'm going to Conclave Tribunal their Wilderness Reclamation. That's cool. That's cool. Draw your cards. You know what else is cool? Main board Conclave Tribunal. That's cool. Do you have a removal spell or you're dead? Talk to me. Okay. Oh, you know what? I should have just played the land and then used Shalai's ability. That was an error on my part. So can I play out both? So if I play the land, that's 3 mana. Yeah, I can do both. And then any land pumps the team, and if not, Shalai. Okay, well, Shalai's protecting us. Yeah. So, taking down some big decks with it. We'll run back one more. One more than lunch. This hand is no bueno. If it was green, sources. I like Ajani there. Branchwalker and Jadelight should help us find our 4th land. We can also Field of Ruin if need be. Give me a green source. You are not a green source. I asked for a green source. Chainwhirler. Bronte. Field of Ruin doesn't really do much. Let's make our stuff big. No attacks. Okay. Sure. You put it on up to 2 creatures. cool with that. Just take a turn off anyways, and we can start Ajani. I want to get the value of putting it on both of them. Skargan. No blocks. So here I can do this, make my stuff bigger, tap down one of them. And then get rid of Skargan Hellkite. Just gonna be conservative here. We are at 8 life. They have 4 cards in hand, so need to watch out. Sarkin's bad. Chandra's okay. That is a bit scary. That is a bit scary.
I am proud to fight by your side.
Do we just... no.
Deliver us to victory.
I don't want to do that yet. We gotta block Ilarak, but we're probably dead anyways if they throw out like Galta. Gonna attack. What's the plan? Attacking with both. Attacking with one. What scary thing do we have to deal with? Llanowar Elf. Good game by the opponent. Alright, so we played for 2 full matches and a couple there. We'll try 1 popper. I put together mono red popper because I'm a filthy casual. Or actually, I'm a try hard. So we'll try it out. I don't know how good it is, but we'll give it a shot. 1 bonus popper action. Get that sweet Vivien. I just want Saheeli. Why haven't they given us Saheeli without paying? Alright. Well, everything in our hands 1-drops, so let's do it. We don't survive past. Gotta get him dead by like turn 4. Oh no. Saproling Migration's like such a surprisingly good card. Do we go wide? Yeah, I think we... just go wide here. Hoping for 1 more land. Well, Shock's equally as good. Let's see if they throw in any blocks. Don't think I've ever wanted Chain Whirler more. That's interesting. This kind of serves as 2 removal. So they'll double block here, which I'm fine with. Gets rid of chumpers. Opponent's stuck on 3. They have murder or something as removal. Vicious Offering. I like the fact that most of our creatures have relevant death triggers. Alright, give me shocks. I think we play Act of Treason. Nah, you don't do nothing. Well, this is the part of the game where they're not dead. I don't think this mono red version's gonna be big enough. They're stabilizing now. I think the mono white version might be better. How much mana do you have to pay? 1. Act of Treason. So here they have to decide. They'll only be able to kill 1 unless they have like a Vicious Offering or something. Oh no, I'm an idiot. It's gonna get +2/2. Okay, so they get the shock. Yeah, we're dead. Alright, I gotta take... I'm not ready for Popper yet. Threw that together too quickly. Need to kind of figure out and take some time to actually theory craft an actual good deck. Anyways, thanks for those who tuned in live. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It is a free and easy way to support the channel. I will follow up this budget series with the full write-up on these subreddit for MTG Arena. Tune in on for that this upcoming Saturday, most likely, June the 1st. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend. I'm off.